So who are the Moors? Americans, Asiatics. Definition of American: any Aboriginal or any one of the various copper color natives found on the continent by Europeans. The original application of the word. So anybody that's melanated, Moor, dark skinned people. Definition of Moor: any dark skinned person. Um, Moors are just Americans. Like I told you before, more ancient tongue you'll pronounce um, American as Al Moroccan. In English, you'll pronounce it American. Now, Moro, like I was telling you, a lot of our, I'm not sure if I talked to you about this, but a lot of our people that got colonized by King Philip were called Filipinos, named after King Philip, which is the British colonist Philip Filipino. But before that, our people were referred to as Moros, and they were part of the Moorish Empire too. Same thing with Cambodia, Vietnam, Malaysia, etc. So Moro, Maru are synonyms, keeping in mind that the vowels A, E, I, O, U and sometimes Y are interchangeable. So you might hear more Moor or Muu. It doesn't change anything. These are still the same people, typically in different eras of time. Uh, you got Olmecs, Mayans, Sumerians, Carthaginians, Phoenicians, Cushites. All these are Moors in different time periods that may have spelt it different, but that's why AEIOU, these are vowels. It could be OU, it's still the same. All right. I like showing this demonstration because a lot of people are familiar with Dragon Ball Z. A lot of people are familiar with different Egyptian artifacts. And like I was telling you about this fez that I'm wearing today, right? Fez and turban. And I don't have a feather on today, but fez, turban, feather, Moorish culture. We have been taught that feather is Indian culture, but I think I showed you something in class where Indian is a misnomer and a more ancient term is more. I believe I showed you that right. Yeah. All right. Um, so on the left we have the Olmec head that I showed you. He got the fez on. Got Dragon Ball Z characters, Pycon, fez, and turban. We got high priests. Um, in school, we're taught these people were ancient Egyptians, but of course, these are Mayan ruin artifacts. So when we talk about ancient Egypt, we're talking about here in the Americas. And I think I told you about the Grand Canyon and the mummies and the cocaine, the cocaine they found in the mummies. And cocaine doesn't grow over there, what most people call Africa. It grows in Colombia. So if there's cocaine in these mummies, use common sense, right? That the old Egypt is over here. Now we have a Bible verse, First Peter, second 9. What does this Bible verse say? But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into the marvelous light. Now, didn't Noble Ali, didn't we end it? The first thing I read, bring you out of darkness into the marvelous light. Let's go back here. The last couple sentences to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into the marvelous light. First Peter, second 9, out of darkness into the marvelous light. So these aren't just things that are made. These are ancient principles. If you have no knowledge of your birthright, your nationality, your culture, if you don't know that, and it's not our fault. K through 12, they teach our people a certain way, but that's why we're in the dark. But this information is still known. So it's up to our people to teach our people. It's not good for business for a foreigner to teach us our culture because it's game over now if we all link up, right? So Now we're trending toward getting to the marvelous light. Um, Let me greet a couple brothers that tapped in. Brother AJ, peace and love. I see Asir call your name out too. I watched that demonstration last night too. Asir, yeah, mentioned something about Donald Trump. I fell out laughing. I was laughing with my wife about that. But it's a good brother AJ, peace and love. Who else tapped in?
Islam, Islam, peace, peace, God. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's loud. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
He dropped some Jews. He dropped some Jews in there. I didn't have it queued up today, but I took that CDC government source. It talks about how all Indians was Moors and all that. That's part of my tool belt now for my demonstration moving forward.
Yes, sir. That's what we have spoken about at the park yesterday.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all divine. Yes,
all
sir.
divine.
Yes, sir.
And it's a new brother Jarrell that's on here. He's I told you I'm taking my vocation class, so I met him in my plumbing vocation class. So you want to greet the good brother, just send his Islam. He new to the info, and I pretty much prepared a demonstration for him and for other more, just to see you can demonstrate something similar for people in y'all area that y'all dealing with that may be new to the info. Maybe something you might want to use in y'all demonstrations as well. Uh, all right. Any questions on that before we Jarrell or anybody before we move forward? Let me listen more then.
No, not right now.
All right, pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Okay, let me grade some more that tapped in here. Um, Tabara, peace and love. Brother Ronald Jones Bay, peace and love. Islam.
Shalom, brother. Peace and love.
Just to reiterate, um, the brother Jarrell, once again, I met this brother at my vocation school that I was telling you about that I started last week and put him on the info. So I'm gearing this particular lesson for him, a lot of fundamentals and things of that nature. Feel free to chime in or elaborate or any other thing that you want to um, put in. And for anybody, any more on here that want to add anything for the good brother, let me know. All right, next slide. So as you can see, we talked about the feds, like what's on my head. This is a national headdress. Um, let's get into some more aspects of the feds. So on the left, we got the feds. In the middle, we got the pilgrim hat, and then on the right, we got the graduation cap. Right. And everything is in degrees. Remember, Jarrell, we talked about how Masons, Eastern Star, they got 33 degrees.
Yeah, right.
So as Moors, we got 360 degrees. We're not abbreviated. There's no ceiling. Our tassel's not pinned down. It goes full 360 degrees. Now, when you graduate college or high school or college, what did they give you when you graduate? A degree? A degree,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just tying some stuff in for you. But this graduation cap with the tassel is no accident that is similar to the Moorish headdress with the tassel. And I know my screen is kind of messed up, but it's a tassel on here.
Yeah, I see it.
All right. All right. So the fez. Let's start with the fez. The national headdress of the Moorish Asiatic nation. Founders of civilization, 360-degree master mason, son of a woman. Now, from the Moorish perspective, when we say mason, it's a compound word. Ma, when you look up any ancient scholastic material in the old world, Ma is just simply mother. So my son, a son that comes from the womb of a mother, which everybody comes from. It's that simple. It's not a fraternal order for us. Um, the Fez is the crown of light, authority and rule, the geometric zodiac. The Fez has no brim and is circular as the sun. The Fez belongs to Now, as I'm reading this, these are noble titles of Moors. Like you got Li, you got Min, Ming. If you blindfolded and you be like, oh, this brother name is something something Li, you gonna think he's some type of Chinese or something, right? So for the Moors, we have noble titles too. Ali, El, Bey, Day, and Al. Typically, nobody gets the Ali as a suffix because that's the people bestow that title on you for your great work, like Prophet Noble Joe Ali, right? So you won't see that too often. But what's common is, as you can see in the chat, we got a bunch of bays, bays and nails, right? All right, so Ali, the bringer of law, most noble and exalted. El, of the Cosmo, lawgiver of the Elohim. Bey, governor of the land and more civilization. Obey and enforce the Elohim law. Day, of the degrees of the eternal zodiac. And Al, of the law, descendant of governors. So it's a lot of different layers. And we'll be speaking, but I can go a little more in depth, but for right now, we're dealing with the Elohim. And I think I might have went into this, 7 archangels, seven, these are the 7 ruling planets in the Milky Way that affect humans and the energies. When we come out the womb, we a snapshot of the heavens of of our impulses, our character, why we think the way we think, what urges we have is all based on our chart, our zodiac chart. Like I'm a Virgo, etc. I have certain tendencies and an outlook on life. I'm not sure what your sign is, but Aquarius. It's all right. Your disposition and your makeup of the lens, the way you look at life is based on the Elohim. So let's go to the pilgrim hat. The Occidental Islam.
I just wanted to add for Brother Jarrell as well, like to let him understand how important the Moorish paradigm is to melanated people. If you look in the world today, brother, everybody, just like Mom said, everybody has the name of their forefathers except melanated people. Melanated people have the last name of Smith. Myself used to be Coleman, things of that nature. But just like Mafi said, if you hear somebody with the last name Lee, you'll swear up and down if you was blindfolded that he's the agent. You see what I'm saying? The Africans have their names. Everybody have their names but us, bro. You got to notice that. That's why this is very important. And I yield. Islam.
So now the pilgrim hat. So the foreigners that came over here and I was observing the people that were already here, noticed that we had these fezzes on, and they kind of copy something similar. These pilgrims. All right. So they copied us to a degree. Now the Occidental or Albion invading tribes adopted the form of the fez and blackened it and added a brim. The Moors named them Peregrinus, or just simply pilgrim. These tribes of English or Anglo-Saxon foreigners wandered the northwestern territories of the North Gate, i.e. North America, stealing, murdering, plundering. In reconstructed history, these aliens are referred to as pilgrims, a corruption of the Latin word peregrinus, is Moorish Latin for wanderer or traveler from a foreign land. One can see the influence of the ancient Moabite Moorish nations in the fez and the headdress of the pilgrims, and I kind of summarized that. So let's go to the mortarboard or the graduation cap. This headdress worn in the West as a symbol of scientific and scholarly ascension in degrees of knowledge. The mortarboard cap is squared above the crown and means master mason, using the tools of the master builder, character building. The mortarboard is an elementary school mathematically emulating the fez. 4 corners are 90 degrees. 90 times 4 is 360 degrees. So when you're looking at a square, it's still the circumference of a circle. We learned that in school, right? Our instructor told us about how 360 degrees, and you chop it in half and it's 180 degrees, and chop it again, it's right. So all this is more science, Peace and love. Peace and love to Ananel and Hanuna. And let's see, so all right, so now also we're looking at 360 degrees, you got 3, 6, and 0, which equate to 9, representing the womb of a woman. It
9
takes
months pregnant.
9 months for till you come out to the physical realm, right? Nine
Right.
moon cycles. You feel me? See how it's all connected? So when you're looking at the Fez, you're looking at a matriarchal principle of all back to the Mason thing. Everybody got to come through the womb. So this tassel represents the umbilical cord as well. And it's look at it as a pregnant stomach. If you're looking at it from the top,
Okay.
and the baby coming out the womb still got connected to the umbilical cord. That all life got to come through the womb of the Stargate, or the woman.
Right.
All right, so womb man or woman, the crown of wisdom and civilization, clearly of Moorish origin. The school cycle are traditionally divided into 4 levels of 3 parts. 4 times 3 is 12, and there's 12 signs in the zodiac, or 12 constellations in the heavens. 4 plus 3 equals 7, meaning knowledge of the circle 7, or cosmology. And I didn't really touch on the circle 7. Well, I did in the sense of the Elohim, but the Quran for the Moors, I'm gonna show you the front cover. So, divinely prepared by Noble Jew Ali, we have the circle 7. So now that we did a little background, you might have seen a Quran with a Q. This is a Quran with a K. And then we got somebody in the chat, the brother Kyle L, 12 grades in school. Exactly. So the brother elaborated on 12. And most systems are based on ancient culture. We didn't know it until we know it. All right. So we have these 4 openings, circle 7. 4 gates, 4 major seasons. We can go a little more in depth,
Okay.
but I'm just trying to just lay some foundation. We'll get more adept as we continue to build over the duration. Any thoughts on that before I go to the next slide? Anybody want to add anything? All right. So as I was speaking, when you see fez, turban, or feathers, think Moorish. Think Moor, not Indian. All right. So the turban was a style of head covering favored by so-called Indian tribes, by many so-called Indian tribes. This is Noble Jew Ali in the middle. Notice his sash. But for right now, just notice the feather and turban and the diadem in the middle. And the reason I like highlighting this, because when we're in school, they don't show Indians like this, quote unquote Indians. They don't, when people think about turban, they got you thinking about the East, Hindustan or India over there. They make you think of Indians more like a different look, right? Or a turban is Muslim or something like that. Right? It's a throw off. So all these indigenous people was turbaned up, feathered up. All right. Besides Majid Islam. Oh, and not like Nanel put in the chat, I spoke on this a little earlier. I'll have this queued up next week, but one of the master teachers of SEER did a demonstration back, this is about the CDC. It speaks on this as far as how American Indians are really Moors. And this is on a government website. And we're going to start using that in our demonstration when we start, going to different colleges and different organizations, different Indian tribes. We're going to start visiting Indian tribes and letting them know that they're really Moors and see where they head at. They might want to unite with us. They might not know. Right. But scholarship, we want to talk, speak with the people with an intelligent tone. Right. All right. So continuing here. Indian is a code name. Indian is a code name used by the European Albion conquerors of civilization in the West or the Maghreb. We look at Maghreb, that's just Morocco, the extreme West, aka today the Americas. It's just Arabic or Aramaic term. Applied to the mixed indigenous Moorish tribes and the Anglo English. Though it may be hard for many to stay educated people to believe, India is over there in Asia, even though that's not India either, that's Hindustan. So the British tagged our people Indian over there by Pakistan. The British tagged our people over here Indian in the Americas. And then later, the Negro color thing. So Indian is nobody's Indian anywhere. These are terms given by foreigners to original people, original melanated people. All right. So the word Indian is derived from Hindu or Hindustan of the East. The Europeans favored the name Indians because the indigenous people of the Americas, or Al-Moroccans, American, were clearly related by parentage and culture to the Asiatics of the East. So when Christopher Columbus and the crew came over here, they was like, man, these people got the same swag, same dress, same turban and feathers as the Moors over there in India or Hindustan. But we in America, but they look the same. All right, so they tagged our people. Right now, I told you we was back and forth. Right, so it's a worldwide movement here. The word India also refers to the word indigo, which is a black berry of the indigo plant used by the Moors from ancient time to present. The dye is used for clothing, jalabas, turbans, and the black tassel, which adorn the cherry red fez. So that's the national headdress for our people. So this is your culture. This is you. This is us. Everybody has a nationality and an illustrious culture, except people that are classified as black, Negro, or colored in North America. But we have a culture. We just got removed from it. So now you know, you can have pride in this. The American flag, right? I think we went into this with the real American flag is, right? Distinguished from the Star Spangled Banner, which is down here. But let's read all three. And we got the Continental flag with the Tree of Peace in the middle. This is called the Great Tree of Peace. And we look up the Iroquois confederations. Even right now in Lebanon, they got this flag because the Moors were everywhere. And the Great Tree of Peace symbolized different tribes of Moors that settled their petty differences and formed confederations because we were starting to get invaded by the foreigners. We plant that tree down as a symbol, to symbolize, you know what? We finna link up. Forget all these body banging and tribal banging. We all the same people. We got different tribes. We might as well unite, right? It's more beneficial. So that tree represented the Tree of Peace. So let me start. So let's start right here. The flag of the Al-Moroccan Moors, Old Glory, is a cherry red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center. The proverbial cherry tree George Washington chopped down in 1774. So they try to bury this information, right? But Noble Drew Ali, that's why he's the prophet, a messenger of the truth. That's what a prophet is. It just means messenger of the truth. He's one of the last messengers of the truth in North America. And he brought his flag back out the votes. Now, this is the Continental flag, the flag of the Al-Moroccan Continental. This is the Continental American flag. The red flag with the white canton displayed a green cedar pine in the center of the canton. Our Al-Moroccan Continental flag was also taken down in 1774. All right, so like I told you, before George Washington, there were a bunch of melanated presidents. We'll go over this. I'll get more intricate later. But in summary, when you look up the Continental Congress, you'll start seeing it was overseers to make sure these pilgrims knew how to operate and run government. Remember, we taught them how to bathe. We taught them government structure. So while that was getting organized, because these foreigners came over here, they were British subjects, French subjects, Dutch subjects. They were still paying taxes to Britain. That's what the Boston Tea Party and all that stuff was about. They didn't want to pay taxes to where they belong. They mothers and fathers. They were under the jurisdictions of kings and queens from over there. Queen Elizabeth, King James, King Louis, etc., which were Christian Moors, but that's another degree. But just for right now, these pilgrims had had to be taught how to run government. So Continental Congress, for example, John Hanson, and was one of the first melanated Moorish presidents that would look at them as supervisors to make sure these pilgrims know how to. They got elected officials now. They got George Washington, Thomas Barclay, Thomas Jefferson. These are all pilgrims that got elected. They showing signs of governmental structure. So by the time George Washington come, they got organized. They did something called the Articles of Confederation, which they got from us. They studied how we ran government and implemented it for themselves. And then you got the Constitution. And before they were called the United States of America, they were called the New England colonies. And I'll show you these documents later. So that's a little backdrop on that flag and the president before George Washington. So now we got the Star Spangled Banner. This is the flag of the colonial states, or the 13 colonies, or the Union, representing the English, Irish, German, French, Scottish, and Dutch company corporations. As a flag of 7 red stripes and 6 white stripes, totaling 13. It has a blue canton containing stars, which symbolizes the states. The stars are white, and it was officially adopted in 1932. Let me check the chat. I see activity in here. And yeah, we got some heat. We got some heat in the chat. Please, these are books that y'all can get to go in more in depth on what I'm talking about today. If y'all want to take snapshots, look at the chat. The good brother AJ putting some heat in here.
Islam, so it's safe to say that our ancestors basically like started humanity's evolvement from dark ages and where they was. Like our ancestors, we basically invented everything. Melanated people, from inventions that got stolen, from everything. We already had it. You just said the government. We already had government structure back then. So basically, it's safe to say we are responsible for humanity's involvement.
Islam. You muted yourself. I wasn't sure if you were done, but yeah, that's true. Oh, that's fact. It's not like we were just primitive and tents and teepees and reservations, right? That wasn't us. We had the Taj Mahal style buildings. We had all the fly stuff, silks, garments, gold, silver. All our cups was lined in gold. Plentiful. That's why they called one of our islands Rich Port of all the gold. That's what Puerto Rico means. In English, Puerto Rico means rich port. We had all the gold. We were oil barons. That's what Black Wall Street was about. They trying to, disrupt all that, blow all that up, the remnants of that, right? Any other thoughts before I move on to the next slide? Anybody in the chat? All right, so I like showing this. I wasn't sure if some of the Mexican brothers in our class and the brother from Nicaragua was going to tap in today, so I had this queued up for them. So I'm going to start with the article from the War Outlook, Moorish America. What kind of people do live in South America? The Spanish, the Portuguese, but chiefly the descendants of European races who have intermarried with the quote-unquote Indians. Other nations have made lesser contributions. Brazil, which is only a few days by steamer from West Africa, is 1/3 Negro, quote unquote. But this is an article. The crudest type of Negro in the American hemisphere, there is a strong mark of the Moor upon the Spaniard. The Arabic Moor wrought his customs very deeply into the life of Spain. The people of Mexico and Cuba might be called Moorish American rather than Latin American. The customs, manners, and heart experiences in these people of Latin America are more Moorish than Christian, more Muslim, more Arabic than Spanish. So it's already documented in newspapers that were published in 1901, 1902, 1950, 1850. And I got tons of newspaper clips from that time too. I'll show you at a later date. I always like using this brother El Yanga. It's one of my favorite demonstrations for any Mexican I meet because the statue is still here. Melanated brother. He was around in the 1570s. And I gave you a lightweight demonstration in class, so I'm just going to bullet point this out. National hero of Mexico, Mexican revolutionary, fighting off the Spaniards. He will be considered Black Negro color today. They don't talk about this in school. They want you thinking you're not from here. All right, so continuing. Oh, I wanted to highlight too, they call him a maroon, just like they call our people maroon. Like he characterized the Maroons of San Lorenzo, so that's a nation state in Mexico today. But in Jamaica, they say the same term, or the Maroons. So the reason I'm highlighting that fact, because of course that's a nickname. Maroon is not a nationality, but Maroon is a nickname given by foreigners. So if they're calling people in Jamaica Maroon and they calling people in Mexico Maroon, the foreigners is looking at that, oh, they're the same people, indigenous to here, right? I just want to highlight that.
I have a question.
Islam, brother Kyle Day.
Y'all, how y'all been?
Well,
A question pertaining to the bottom portion of the paragraph that says the customs, manners, and I think that says heart experiences in these people of Latin America are more Moorish than Christian, more Muslim, more Arabic than Spanish. And my question is pertaining to more Arabic. Is it in anyone else's studies that we could possibly also have Arab blood in us here today in the Americas? Or are they speaking more so towards culture or style or language or all
language.
three?
Language.
Okay.
Yeah, in this context, then that it'll be language.
Okay.
And then of course the Christian and Muslim will be the creed aspect. That was a good one though. Islam, that was a good one. That was a good one from my brother, Jarrell. Anybody, yeah, questions like that, yeah, flood me because we're trying to teach the people that's new to this space. So that's a great question, man. Islam to that. Any other thoughts before I transition to the next slide?
Just one. I wanted to share that about the whole Mexico, Salvador. That was named after Christopher Columbus. That's why his name was Colón El Salvador, and he was the president of He was the first president of El Salvador once they colonized it. So just some adding on to what you were saying as far as about the El Yanga.
Islam.
Yeah,
Same thing with Colombia too. Colombia, same thing. These places, they have more ancient terms when you go to older maps. And all that area was before it was called that was called New Granada. Because it was Moors that were getting exiled from Granada and repopulated with their cousins. And some got killed, April Fools and all that. They were acting like they was gonna continue that and let the Moors that got conquered by King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, they were gonna act like they were gonna let them keep getting shipped, and they burnt the ship and all that. But just to add into that, you got something, Jarrell? I feel like you about to ask something.
Yeah. Oh,
No.
Larry Bay.
yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I just wanted to add to the space that here in California, you have more Moorish architecture here than any other place around the world, outside of Spain per se. Now, the reason why I'm hitting on this is because when the Spaniards colonized Mesoamerica in the western portion of today, what is known as the United States, they brought their architecture over here. And keep in mind that they shared the same space with the Moors for over 800 years. So much of the architecture here in California is actually Moorish Latin. So just pay attention to the cathedrals. Many of some of the names in the cities, for example, Moore Park, Alhambra, Granada Hills, and so on. These are actually dedications to the Moors and their experiences dealing with with the 800 years of the Moors, you know, bringing light civilization to these people. So just keep that in mind that it's indirectly in front of us that we normally on a day-to-day basis don't even pay attention to it. But anyway, I yield and I'm gonna let Mafi continue on.
Wow. That's loud. And I showed the brother too, Moorish architecture. And I went to images. And it's similar to like the backdrop behind me. So, right, the White House got the same configuration. Taj Mahal, cathedrals, and all these things, right? So, this is not Black history, it's Moorish history. You won't even think that you have anything to do with this until you know better, right?
It's crazy.
Let me check the chat.
Also wanted to add, I found that the White House also looks, I don't know what word to use, but the presidential house in Haiti, I don't know if anybody ever saw that, but the same presidential house in Haiti that they got for their superior is the same as the White House over here. The same structure, the same.
Islam. Any other thoughts, comments? Check the chat. The brother AJ dropping some heat in the chat. Take screenshots. Absorb the info if it's a new space for you. I'm gonna transition to the next slide. Let me check the chat one more time.
Peace, God. I just wanted to add on for anybody that want to go in depth with different aspects of the knowledge. It can send you down the rabbit hole, different, just in different realms of thought for you to go into. And I yield.
Slide. All right. I'm gonna transition to the next slide. And this is for imagery because we just not taught this. So the Atagami tribe, or they call the Fox Indians of Wisconsin. This images, pictures, a picture worth 1,000 words. And it's a reason they're not showing our people, K through 12. They want a quote unquote indigenous person to look a certain way. So it's self-explanatory. I love showing this picture worth 1,000 words, same thing. Just to stress home the point. We indigenous to these lands.
Also, Mafi, wanted to add in as well. For I believe the brother name is Jarrell. I don't know if you're aware of this, but recently, back in November, the president of Colombia, Gustavo Pedro, I believe that's his name. He said it out loud in front of the world at the UN that the ancestral people of this land are the quote unquote Black people. This is another quote you can use as ammunition when you're trying to stake your stake your position and make your claim about who we are and everything. But that's just another public announcement from a head of state that said this out in front of the world. So just wanted to throw that in, and I yield.
Gotcha. Wow.
I'm gonna transition to the next slide. So when you're looking at any type of dictionaries or scholarly work before the 1700s or before the 1600s, how this is an emblem of America. When people were looking at America from like the East, this is what was shown, right? So, but today, if you look up, it's gonna look different, right? They're gonna make indigenous people look totally different, throw you off. All right. I think I went through this with you in class, but this is the annexation of Texas, and this is when Mexico became called Texas.
Yeah, I remember
Mexico properly belongs to the Moorish people and their Indian associates. And this is law. This is something you can use as an exhibit in court. Anything after the Library of Congress, case law, these are things you can use as exhibits.
that.
More images on the bottom. Remember the Hawaiian Punch Man back in the day?
Yeah,
That's a Mayan noble. I'm gonna throw that in there when I see this one on the far right. All right, so these are the people of America, the indigenous people of America. Imagery, more imagery, right? Picture worth 1,000 words. This is America. This is indigenous America. People today classify the black Negro on color.
right.
So I like showing this. I posted this a while ago. All the oldest pyramids in the world are the Americas. And then they did a demonstration with the mummies of Libya over there, and then the mummies of America or Mexico or Peru or Belize. This one specifically is in Chile, or 10,000 years old. So it only makes sense if the oldest pyramids in the world are over here. That means ancient Egypt is over here. We just talked about the cocaine mummies, and then we spread the culture east. And the camels. Let's talk about camels. Despite their strong association with the Middle East and Africa, camels actually originated in North America. So 45 million years ago, between 3 and 5 million years ago, they crossed the Bering Strait, which was an ice bridge that melted, that connected a quote unquote Alaska or Lhasa to Manchuria or China. So when they give us images in school about the camels and pyramids and mummies, they got us thinking over there.
Exactly.
It's over here. This is a Mayan high priest artifacts. This is the Egyptian Sphinx. Right? Right. So
Very
we
good.
talk about ancient Egypt, we talk about the Mayans and the Olmecs. Transition to the next slide. And this is for reinforcement. You see the good brother down here, bottom left, fez and turbaned up. These are more from different parts of the world. This actual Moor right here, Saint Maurice on the bottom right, he's a Moor, but he's a Christian Moor. He's German. He was one of the original Germans. So this is before Hitler. The original Germans was dark as us. These were Christian Moors. This flag, even though you can see a piece of it, it's a black bird on this flag. Which represent the Holy Roman Empire. The original Romans were Moors. These are the more now we're getting into the more adept lessons of, see, the first wave is just letting our people know we was running everything.
Right.
And the blonde hair, blue eyed people was up under us. But when you go more in depth, you start seeing the infighting of our people. Some of our people Muslim, or the Turks, or all the Olmecs and the Mayans, these are all Muslims. But some of our people want to do the Roman thing and want to have a different style of government and different way of life. All right, so just to throw that in there. But once again, turban fez, Moorish, not Indian. This is your culture. You know, don't run from it. So this is a more from the if you look up the Hill tribe of Thailand, once again, turbaned up, very melanated. You saw him walking down the street on Crenshaw, Western or something. You thought you call him a black guy, right?
Right.
This man, he's a noble from Thailand. Now we're talking about Asia, right? Most people have us looking at Thailand and people looking different.
Yeah.
We had emperors over there too. This is a worldwide movement. It's not a back to Africa movement. This is an international movement. All right, so let me transition. I love showing this one. There's Noble Jew Ali on the left. And then on the right, you have a noble from Hindustan. Like the same people to me, right? So Noble Jew Ali reinforcing the fact that this is a worldwide movement, worldwide culture. All right. Now this brother, I did a post last night on Malik Ambar. This is the Peshwa, which means prime minister in English. He was second in command to the Sultan. Now, when you look up this nation state, Ahmadnagar, this is Hindustan, or what they call India. So in the 1500s, we had emperors and sultans over there. All right, so we was over there too. They don't talk about him. And in his early life, he was connected to the Mayans. The Mayans. So think about this. A brother that's ruling over there in Hindustan has connections to the Mayans. That showed that we was traveling back and forth. And the whole world, you know, the old world understood the connection. And mind you, this is what the Reconstruction was about, to distort that, fact. Once again, turban. And once again, you see Noble Jew Ali,
Yeah.
got the sash. Let me go back to Noble Jew Ali. You see I got the sash going across his chest. You see his whole attire?
Yeah.
This is ancient. This is no coincidence why he's dressed like that. He didn't just think of this stuff on his own and made it up. He bringing a whole different energy back to the people that think they black, Negro, color. Like, wake up.
Right.
This is you.
Okay.
You know. Any other thoughts on this space from anybody in the chat? Let me check the chat. Somebody put something in here. Oh yeah, brother AJ putting some heat in.
Islam.
Islam, brother James Conway Bay. Islam, you got something?
So a couple slide or two back, I believe. You talked about the pyramids. I stay in the territory of St. Louis, and I'm not too far from what you would say the Cahokia Mounds, Monk's Mounds, those mounds. And the brothers from Kenland Moors, they did a demonstration about those mounds, and one of the Indian brothers had wrote something at a certain time explaining that they have no affiliation with those mounds, that they are to the so-called black people they call that are indigenous to the land. Islam.
Wow. Islam. Yeah, the mounds. So we have pyramids and mounds. Most of the pyramids and mounds are covered up, and they're either museums. I mean, not museums, but like national parks, golf courses like the PGA Tour and all that. They playing golf on our mounds and all that. We just don't know it. or it's called Area 51, and we can't go to it because it'll make you see like they've been lying to you in the school books. People look, and that's what the whole thing, like with the Sphinx, and they knocked off the nose and all that. Easter Island, they knocked the feathers off them statues. And so you won't see a connection to it. They want you thinking you're a foreigner to the land that you're from. And when you study trust law and things like that, if you're an incompetent heir or an incompetent beneficiary, you leave a state that's vacant. And now a foreigner can come in and set up shop because the people of the land don't know they're from there. right? So it's all connected to international law and inheritance laws, customary laws, and things like that. Any other thoughts, comments, statements?
Other Mafia, you just hit something right on the nail. And I'm gonna add this to my studies. I'm gonna add inheritance law to my study. Is there such thing as inheritance law? I know there's
Yeah,
a such thing as the state law, but inheritance law.
yeah, they're intertwined. Yeah, state law, state inheritance law, and customary law. Customary. Um,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, look those up. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely look that up. I'll
Mhm.
yield.
Got this live. Let me check the chat. Got some activity in the chat. Oh yeah, the brother R. Jones Bay dropping some heat in the chat as well. There's the mounds. It's all the time we've seen Tiger Woods and all these people. they playing golf on our ancient on our ancient artifacts. We didn't, and it's so hidden in plain sight that we got no clue. Um, all right, so I'm gonna get into the another aspect of the demonstration: historical linguistics, Moorish influence on Spanish vocabulary. And here we go, Moorish architecture, right? Ain't no accident. Language is not just a medium of communication. It is also a record of history and cultural exchanges over the centuries. When we look at the Spanish language, it is clear that it has been significantly shaped by many different influences. One of the most notable among these is the profound impact that the Moors, and this is from, you know, from what they're saying, but a group of Muslim inhabitants from North Africa who controlled parts of Spain for over 800 years, from the 8th to the 15th century. Of course, I elaborated more, but if I didn't give you this elaboration, you'll be thinking Moors are just from Spain. That's not the case. We was over here before we went over there. All right, so that's why I wanted to add little disclaimers, I guess. This period, known as the Moorish rule or Andalus, saw a flourishing of science, philosophy, art, and culture. Naturally, this cultural richness extended to language as well. Consequently, many Spanish words of today have their roots in Arabic, the language of the Moors. This article will take a deep dive into the fascinating journey of the Moorish influence on Spanish vocabulary, shaping it into the beautiful and rich language that we know today. The Moors came from the Maghreb region of North Africa. And I'll go into this demonstration with you, but when they say North Africa, that's a Freemasonic spell. North Africa is northwest of Mexico, which today is the Americas. When you look at maps of what they call Pangea, what they call Africa was connected to South America and Florida. When you look at that, look at what Northwest is like that. And now you're going to see once the earthquake happened, oh, Northwest is over here. All right, so when they say in North Africa, that's a code word. Anytime you look up a Moor or the Carthaginians or the Sumerian, oh, Phoenicians, oh, Northwest Africa, Northwest Africans. The Canaan, so that's part of the game that they play with our people too. But like I say, it's up to us to teach our people. They're not gonna go into these depths. All right, so the Moors came from the Maghreb, and just the word Maghreb meaning Morocco, the extreme west. That's another thing. So it's like truth and falsehood strangely mixed when you look at certain things. So that's why I gotta go in depth. So Maghreb region of North Africa, and were primarily Berbers, that's where you get Barbary, and Arabs, quote unquote, because Arab is a language, it's not a people. We spoke Arabic, we spoke Latin, but we're not Latinos, right? You see what I'm saying? So these things got to be explained a little bit better. They crossed the Mediterranean and entered into the Iberian Peninsula, present-day Spain and Portugal in 711 AD, marking the beginning of the Moorish rule in that area. This rule, particularly in the earlier part, is known as the Golden Age of Al-Andalus, a time when learning and culture were highly valued. At this time, the rest of Europe was going through the Dark Ages, right? So we brought light. They didn't know how to bathe. We brought education, universities, street lights, how to use herbs for medicine. Anything you could think of, we brought and raised humanity in Europe. We stopped the plague. There was something. Look up the Black Plague. It was diseases that was spreading at a fast clip because these people weren't bathing, and we had to clean all that up. So all these people that's talking about they shipped you over here, had to civilize you. It's all lies. It's everything reversed.
Wow.
Yeah, look up the Silk Road too. And Africa just means earth as well. When you look up the etymology, Africa just means earth when you take it back to more ancient languages. So the whole word of Africa in that context, but Northwest Africa would be the Americas today. Everybody, you got something?
Yeah. I just wanted to add in that Africa went by several names. The original names were Corfu, Orji, and Akibulam. Also, if there's two books I wanted to throw at you to add into that, the Caucasians or the Albions were brought here as slaves. There's two books. You can get one called White Cargo, and then there's another one called They Were White and They Were Slaves. Yeah, peep those two books out. I yield.
Wow. Yeah, excellent book. Yeah, excellent books to go into that space. Okay, so at this time, the rest of Europe was going through the Dark Ages with a relative stagnation in culture. So they were stagnant in culture and stagnant in anything that was intellectual. No intellect until the Moors came. In contrast, Al-Andalus became the beacon of knowledge and progress, with the Moors making significant advancements in various fields such as mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, and of course, language. The Arabic language, with its rich vocabulary and complex grammatical structures, was brought into the everyday life of the Iberian people, leaving a lasting imprint on language and region. The Arabic influence on Spanish vocabulary. It's estimated that around 4,000 Spanish words are of Arabic origin, accounting for approximately 8% of the Spanish dictionary. This influence spans across a multitude of areas, including everyday life, farming, craftsmanship, science, and more. The recognition of this influence starts with the simple acknowledgement of the Arabic articles al, comparable to the in English, which precedes many Spanish words of Arabic origin. Examples include algodón or cotton, almohad, pillow, alcohol, azucar, and sugar. So agriculture and natural world. The Moors introduced innovative irrigation system. Remember I was telling you how me and you and Jarrell, we're in trade school right now, learning all these vocations, trying to decide what we write. Electrical, plumbing, pipe fitting, drywall.
Right, drywall, sheet metal.
All this we knew how to do. We was the ones doing all that. Now it's reduced down to a vocation you can learn, right? A trade school.
Right, a trade school.
All right, so Moors introduced irrigation systems, right? So plumbing, right? And naval crops to the Iberian Peninsula. And many of the related Spanish terms bear Arabic roots. For instance, the word aceituna, olive, derived from the Arabic azutin, and naranja, orange, from narajan. Similarly, aruz or rice comes from aruz. So aruz would be Spanish, Arabic, aruz is just at the hyphen. and aspinsica or spinach from Espinja. I know I'm butchering. Craftsmanship and architecture. Craftsmanship, especially related to textiles and ceramics, flourished under the Moorish rule. This influence is seen in words like alfombra or carpet, from the Arabic alhambra, and azulaja or tile, from azulaj. Architecture was another area greatly influenced by the Moors. And once again, we talked like the Moorish architecture behind me, for example. And many Spanish words relating to buildings and their parts come from Arabic. An example is alcoba or alcove, which comes from the Arabic word alcuba. And even Cuba, which is really Cuba. Cuba is really Cuba. All right, so that's Arabic. Just, and it's a book called When Rocks Cry Out, by Horace Greeley. He talks about how when Christopher Columbus, most people know him as Christopher Columbus,
Right.
he saw all these Quran verses on all these temple structures or mosques, which shows you the quote unquote Indians are speaking Arabic, which lets you know that this is, ancient America was Muslim in culture. Just to highlight as well on some things. Science and mathematics. Moorish Spain was a hub of scientific progress, particularly in fields like astronomy and mathematics. It's therefore not surprising that many Spanish words in these areas are from Arabic origin. For example, cifra or cipher. How many people talk about ciphers in the hip hop community? Let's have a cipher.
Cipher, right.
Right? Comes from the Arabic cipher, from which the English word zero also originates. Algoritmo or algorithm is derived from the name of the Persian mathematician Al-Khwarizmi. So look him up. So all these concepts of being a scholar, construction, using measurements to build, is all Moorish. And then so now compare that to what they taught us in school last week, Jarrell. What they say the percentage of people in construction is Albion, right? Or white people, right?
Right. What did they say? Like 30, 42?
Yeah.
Was it 42%?
Yeah, and the whites were like 70-something%. Or,
Yeah.
So see the flip.
72%, I think.
Yeah. So see the flip.
Man.
They have, so you'd be like, man, this ain't for me. This is
right.
But we're the ones that created it. Right? So place names. A significant number of Spanish place names or toponyms have Arabic origins, especially in the South where Moorish rule lasted the longest. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but I want to let you know, where Spanish comes from, and it has a predecessor. It has a root of where it came from that's tied to you. Because most of our people would be like, we're not connected to all these people speaking Spanish and all this type of stuff. But it all comes from us. So this is my demonstration for today. Any thoughts, comments, or anything that anybody wants to add?
Islam.
Brother R. Jones Bay.
Islam, first and foremost, I would like to rise and give perfect praise to Allah, the Father of the universe, for our love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Extending the highest of honors to our illustrious prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for bringing us not only the Moorish Science Temple of America, but the Constitution, the Divine Constitution and bylaws, the 101s, the Moorish Questionnaire for Moorish American. Islam, extend highest honors, higher honors, Islam, not the highest, but the higher honors to the forerunner, the prophet Marcus Mosiah Garvey for demonstrating that the so-called Negro needed a nationality of his own, and the so-called Negro needed to return to his God of Africa, which when you study Marcus Garvey, you'll see that he favored Islam. Also, all then honors to the first Supreme Grand Sheikh of Moorish Temple, America, immediately ill, the prophet's choice, and also extending honors to all leaders of the Moorish Temple of America and all Moorish leaders. Islam,
Wow.
high honors to you, Moorish, for making the meeting today, Islam. I almost lost my my thought. The demonstration on Spanish was a Moorish demonstration, founded that language, Islam. However, when Moors unfortunately had to leave Spain, those Spanish Europeans eventually kept the language and did change the name. And they also like put their dialect on the demonstration, but it was impossible for them to delete over 5,000 Arabic words that was interjected into the language. So yes, Spanish is essentially a Moorish language. And for me being in California, raised in California, growing up next to, Mexican families and going to school with
Right,
Mexican,
right.
it is imperative that we know Spanish. Islam, the demonstration on, oh, they need to learn English, da, 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 da. No, the misconception is that we only know one language. There are people who know more than three languages. And I put in the chat demonstration, Moors knew more than three languages. For being on the Silk Road, being on the trade route, we had to speak to the different peoples of the world. It is super, super highly, extremely common for us to know more than one language. Unfortunately, here in the United States of America, Northwest, we've been indoctrinated to only learn one language. And then when we get the option to learn a second language, we don't want to do that because those are not our people. However, in a great spectrum of things, there is not a language on the planet that we did not have a hand in coming up with. Islam, you have to remember the pale skinned Caucasian European had became an American. Before he came an American, he was a European. Before he came a European, he was just a Caucasian. Before he was a Caucasian, he was just a Caucasoid. Before he was a Caucasoid, he was a Neanderthal. Before he was a Neanderthal, he had got made in an experiment with the troglodyte, Islam. So the troglodyte didn't have a language because it was an animal, Islam. So there's great to be learned from the Moors of Northwest Islam. With that, I yield the floor to North Islam.
Wow.
Wow. Great demonstration.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's why Kobe knew all them languages.
Yeah, the great.
Kobe knew a whole bunch. French. Kobe knew how to talk a lot of languages.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get into the conclusion aspects of the demonstration. I'm gonna read from the Circle 7, Holy Quran, Divinely Prepared by Noble Jew Ali. And it's fitting based on what the demonstration was today. This is chapter 45, Divine Origin of the Asiatic Nations. The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate, and to know their higher self and their lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for teaching and instructing all Moorish Americans. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations. The Moorish, who were the ancient Moabites and founders of the holy city of Mecca. The Egyptians, who were the Hammatites and of a direct descendant of Mizraim. The Arabians, the seed of Hagar, Japanese and Chinese, the Hindus of India, the descendants of the ancient Canaanites, Hittites, and Moabites of the land of Canaan. The Asiatic nations of North, South, and Central America, the Moorish Americans and Mexicans of North America, Brazilians, Argentinians, and Chileans in South America, Colombians, Nicaraguans, and the natives of San Salvador and Central America, etc. All of these are Muslims. The Turks are the true descendants of Hagar, who are the chief protectors of the Islamic creed in Mecca, beginning from Muhammad I, the founding of the uniting of Islam by the command of the great universal God Allah. The reason I found this particular verse in the Circle 7, Quran, divinely prepared by Noble Jew Ali, is we were talking about different parts of the world and how they're connected. So this is a reinforcement, essentially. I'm going to close out in prayer. Five on the left, two on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector and my guide by night and by day. He was Holy Prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Amen. I'm going to stop the recording and then we'll have a little chat.